Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Lion and Liverbird podcast. I think this is our 16th episode. We put out a whole bunch of episodes on soccer topics, and we've been very glad to have 20 subscribers till now. So thank you for everybody who's subscribed. So before I begin this podcast, I want to put out my call to action. So if you like what we're putting out, if you like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We talk about soccer, we talk about tactics, and we always have fun. So I'm Rohit, by the way, calling in from Texas. And then I have with me Adeem calling in from Calcutta. Say hi, Adeem.
Hi, Adeem. Again.
I think that's a good one. We should keep doing
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
we
yeah.
should keep.
Yep. So today's topic, a lot is going on in the footballing world. Of course, the Euros are going on, the round of 16, Copa America is going on. But we wanted to talk about the transfer market because the transfer market has opened for the summer. And as usual, Chelsea are going crazy in the transfer market. A whole bunch of deals across the spectrum going on. Some make sense. Some are quite shady, to be honest with you. And then, of course, Liverpool are also in the market. I think Liverpool are being a lot more careful with their choices. Adeem, what do you think?
So for the past year and a half, right? Maybe even 2, 3 years, you're not getting the rumors that you used to get for Liverpool from all these ITKs and all these journalists. I think right now we can only trust two people. That's Paul Gost and David Ornstein,
Mhm.
at least for Liverpool, because they are the ones who know what's going on and they are the ones who break the news all the time. We've been linked with quite a few players. We'll discuss that a little later. But it's been eerily quiet for us. It's strange because we've got a new manager. We've spoken about new tactics. We have discussed what Liverpool's
Yep.
tactics could be like. And there's no real movement. There was a lot of talk about these Eredivisie players linking up with Arne Slot. But again, no real concrete links. So we've always been a little careful in the transfer market during the FSG era. It's a little too quiet, but there's still time. So I'm
Absolutely.
hopeful.
Somebody
Yeah,
tell that to Chelsea.
no, so
Oh,
the
boy.
Chelsea thing is absolutely it's stunning.
Yeah,
That every single transfer window they do this.
yeah.
They're linked with so many players, and more often than not, it's the young players that you guys are getting. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think because you brought up time, that's an interesting thing because it just came to my mind, right? There is a lot of time for the transfer window, but what there isn't time for, we were just talking about it, is the PSR window for the last financial year. PSR is the profit and sustainability rules, and the last day for basically balancing your books is tomorrow, 30th of June.
Oh,
So
wow.
essentially, that is why there is no time for certain teams, Chelsea being primary among them. And then we also have teams like Aston Villa, Everton, who have been doing some very shady deals amongst each other to kind of balance their books. I know we'll talk about PSR a little more in detail. So let's first dive into what each team needs to become better and to be possible title contenders for Liverpool and for us, to get into the top four, hopefully. So let's start with Liverpool, Adeem. What do you think are the main areas that you guys need to fortify in your squad?
So we've had quite a few people leave us, but most of the people who've left us were either during the end of the Liverpool careers or they weren't appearing too much. Like Thiago, he
Hmm.
was injured, I think, for most of the season. Adrian has gone. He was our backup keeper, and we lost Joel Matip. He left on a free transfer. So one glaring issue that we have to deal with and fix is a centre back. We need a centre back ASAP
Hmm.
and a quality centre back because Joel Matip's gone. Konate is a very good player, but he's prone to injuries. Virgil van Dijk alone can't do it all because he also has had a major injury, I think, 2 or 3 years back, and you can't expect him to play every single game now.
Yeah.
You've got Jarel Kwangsa, who is an amazing talent, but you don't want to overplay him. And then you've got
Yes.
Joe Gomez, who was used, I think, everywhere in the back line last year. He was the right back, he was a left back. In fact, he played a lot of games as the left back. So I'm not really sure you can count him as a centre back anymore.
Hmm.
So we can't go into the new season with just three recognized centre backs. We need
Right.
that fourth centre back, and we
Have
have
you?
been linked with a couple.
Okay. Who?
Oh, one is Calafiori from Bologna, the
Uh,
Italy guy. The other is Lenny Euro,
mhm.
but he is not going to come 100% because, as usual,
Real Madrid.
We like a player, Real Madrid come in. So we've seen
Hmm.
that with Chouameni, we've seen that with Bellingham, and Euro 100% will go to Real Madrid unless something drastic happens. Because
Hmm.
I'm sure you know, once Real Madrid calls,
Yeah,
I think every player runs up. We've seen it with Courtois,
yeah.
we've seen it with Eden Hazard. Although he was very respectful, he stayed at Chelsea for a lot longer and then he left. But you just know that Real Madrid have that power.
So,
And yeah, the other
yeah.
position that we need somebody is a DM, a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, sorry, before we get into the DM, are you looking for a specific profile in your center backs? Because Calafiori, I think he's left-footed, very good with the ball. Lenny Euro is somebody
Yes,
who's very tall, good at tackling.
I think we are looking for a left-footed defender because
Ah,
currently Virgil van Dijk plays on the left side of the centre back
hmm.
pairing. But I think it would be better if we have somebody who's a proper left-footed centre back because that will give maybe Virgil van Dijk could move to the right side of the defensive pairing. He'll give probably a little bit more defensive cover to someone like Trent.
Hmm.
Again, we're not quite sure how Arne Slot will line up this season. Will he be using Trent into the inverted midfield position? Will he be keeping him as a right back? Because he uses that inverted position a lot. He used that a lot in
Got
final.
it.
So that's one. And the other, obviously, I've spoken about is the defensive midfielder. Now, we do
Hmm.
have Stefan Batic, but I believe he's again picked up an injury. So I'm not sure we want to rush him
He's still
anymore. He
pretty
didn't,
young, right?
he's very young. He didn't play much last season. I think he barely played any games.
Hmm.
Uh, he's very good, talented, but again, you don't want to rush certain youngsters because obviously there's the risk of overplaying them, injuries. And Wataru Endo has come out and openly said that, if they do get a number six or a defensive midfielder, it'll be great for the team. Because he himself is saying that he's not like at the top of the game in the terms of age and availability and
Right.
stuff like that. So it's very refreshing to see a team player basically saying something like this because normally they say, no, 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 we don't need a new player. We already have enough strength. But he understands we need a DM. I think last season we saw that we needed a DM
Hmm.
in some of the big games. So those are at least the two positions we have to fill. It'll be great if we get a left back also. We've been
Hmm.
linked with Ait Nuri of
Ah,
Wolves.
he's really good,
So
right? Attacking left
he's
back.
really good.
Yeah.
He's young. He's an attacking left back. I think he's also he's Moroccan, is he, or is he Egyptian? I'm
He,
not sure.
one of the
Anyway, he can
two.
he
Yeah.
can be Mohamed Salah's friend. Salah needs somebody after
Mm,
Dejan Lovren
mm,
left. So those are the three positions I think we need someone. I think we are pretty well stacked in every other department.
mhm,
Although we've been surprisingly linked with Anthony Gordon.
hmm.
This is a transfer that's actually that yeah, exactly. That's my thought also. So he plays down the left or he can play down the
Yeah.
right. But do we need him? Because if you look at the
What about
attack that
Diaz
we
and
have,
Gakpo, right?
Diaz, Gakpo, we've got Salah, we've got
Hmm.
Harvey Elliott who can play down the right. We've got a very talented youngster. I seem to forget his name. He's Scottish, but he picked up an injury, so he couldn't play the entire last season. And then we've got Nunes. So it's a little strange as to what we will do with Anthony Gordon. And it seems like this deal could happen because
Yeah, it's
Newcastle need to
Newcastle,
sell.
right? Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
PSR. Yeah.
the PSR. They need to get rid of a couple of players.
Hmm.
We rejected a deal apparently where we were going to get Gordon and they wanted Kwanzaa. I mean, it would be absolutely ludicrous to
No,
send
yeah,
Kwanzaa the other way. It
yeah.
makes no
Especially
sense.
because Kwanzaa is a center back who you need,
Yeah,
and that particular part of the field you are kind of light. Yep.
yeah. So I believe that deal will go through. I think it's just some other things. Maybe we'll send some random player to Newcastle, inflate his value or whatever for the
Hmm.
PSR to help Newcastle.
Hmm.
But that's an interesting one because if Gordon does come in, surely we'll be selling somebody from the attack.
Ah,
And that's a big question as to who do we sell because Luis Diaz has been linked to a move to Barcelona.
possibly.
And
Yeah.
and once Barcelona calls any of these
Especially South American guys,
South
they
American
would
players,
want.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll want to go.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
uh, I think things will pick up
Hmm.
in the next couple of weeks, especially once the Euros are done and maybe once Copa is done.
Yeah, but then yeah, Barcelona, I don't know how much money you'll get out of them. They're broke, right?
Yeah, so they might sell some other part of the stadium or something like
Oh
that.
God. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they'll name the new camp as something new. They already call it the
It's
Spotify new camp,
Spotify,
I
yeah.
think.
They already sold
It's
it
Spotify.
the naming rights to Spotify. It's crazy. Okay, moving on to Chelsea, which is always, a crazy house, a
This is gonna
mad
be this is
house.
gonna be long, right? This is
Yeah,
gonna be
this
long.
is going to be long, but there are a lot of nuanced conversations to be had here, right? Let's start off with what Chelsea need, right? Chelsea have a lot of holes in their squad because, after Todd Bowley, Behrad Iqbali, and Clear Lake Capital took over, the squad building hasn't been great. We've chopped and changed managers, and that's basically caused a lot of players to come in who some of the managers wanted to begin with, who haven't worked out, have been passed on. And so the entire structure of the club is still in a big mess. We have a lot of big players on loan on big salaries. Lukaku is still with us. Nobody seems to want
Wow.
him. Yeah, Kepa Arrizabalaga is with us. He was also on loan. These big guys are on big salaries, and we need to get rid of them first. But talking about the squad, the one glaring thing that we needed was a centre back, because Thiago Silva retired. Obviously, one of the players to have played the last 4 seasons and become a legend, right, at Chelsea. He was beloved by the fans. Everybody used to love his performances. He was a crucial part in us winning the Champions League, and then him leaving left a big hole, and Chelsea have already filled that. And Chelsea filled that with a pretty decent bargain in the transfer market, I think. Chelsea bought Tosin, let me get this right, Adarabayo from Fulham. So essentially on a free transfer. So this is a 26-year-old on the higher side of the age range of which Chelsea usually target. But here he didn't cost us anything. So I guess, his value going up and down doesn't really matter. He's really good. I think he's a pretty complete center forward. He's basically did his initial training and got his initial steps in at Man City. So he has that heritage in him. And he has some physical attributes that Chelsea needed. He is very tall and dominant in the air. And he's also quick. So I think that'll help our new coach, Enzo Maresca, implement his system. And one of the important parts of his system is somebody who can be a part of a back three defensive structure out of possession, and somebody who can win the ball, be a defender in the front foot. So I think that was a good bit of business. And again, Tosin has, I think, maybe some links with Joe Shields, who was also in Man City, as well as Maresca when he was in Man City. So there, that's probably a decent transfer for zero money. Another kind of area of the field where we probably did not need anybody, but this transfer saga, stretched along for the longest time, was Michael Olise. So
Ah,
yeah,
yes.
Olise, who's now heading to Bayern Munich. He's an extremely talented, winger, French winger, left-footed player, really good dribbling, is really good with his passing and vision, really good with his shooting and finishing. And we were linked with him last summer. That saga stretched along. We didn't end up buying him. He signed a new contract at Palace, and we were again linked with him. But the problem with Chelsea is we are hoarding right-sided, left-footed wingers right now. So we have Noni Madueke, and Palmer in the first team. We've
Oh,
also bought, two of these South American, prodigies.
Wonder Kids. Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kendry Paez from Ecuador, who's really playing well at the age of 17 in Copa America. And we also have Estevao Willian, who's a Brazilian wonder kid from Palmeiras, and for big money. We are paying almost $65 million for Estevao Willian, the total amount, including all the add-ons and everything. And on top of that, we had guys like Omari, Hutchinson, who's now been sold to Ipswich almost, and we had Santos and all of these guys. So we're like, what's going on? Why are you hoarding these left-footed, right-sided midfielders? These are the kind of things that really takes your trust in the Chelsea sporting directors. But I don't know. Maybe Olise saw this and he got scared too, and he decided to join Bayern Munich. It's like, what are these guys doing? So we lost out on him.
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you think about Olise?
I think he was one of the shining talents, like bright talents from the Premier League last season. Now, you must understand he was playing for Crystal Palace.
Yep.
but he did such a good job. I think Palace were an excellent team to watch in the
Yes,
second
second
half of
half of the
last season.
season. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think they replaced the manager. Hodgson
Yes,
was
yes.
sacked mid-season and they bought someone else, and they
Glasner, I
played
think. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He was
Yep.
also linked to the Bayern Munich job, and
Yeah, he's
he
really
turned
good.
that down.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Bayern Munich getting turned down by a Crystal Palace manager. Who would have thought? But yeah, Olise is an absolutely brilliant player. It's interesting that he's already willing to take the jump to Bayern
Yeah,
Munich. I think it's actually a good move for him because playing in the Bundesliga is a little different to the Premier League. The Premier League is very rough and tumble,
hmm,
and I'm not sure there were many clubs who would have wanted him in the Premier League in the sense like there are not a lot of clubs that need a right winger,
mm,
like top clubs.
hmm,
So maybe going to Bayern Munich is the right move for him. We've seen a lot of young talents go over to Germany and actually
yeah,
develop the game and become better.
yeah,
Bellingham being one, Haaland obviously is another example. Even Jadon Sancho
yeah.
before he came to United. So maybe that is the decision or that is the thought process that Olise has had. That I
Yes.
spend some time in Germany, enhance my abilities, and then see where I go.
Yeah, so the Olise one is interesting. It still hurts a little bit, although we are kind of stacked. But
How
Olise
many
was
players do you
definitely
need, man?
he
Why will
was a
it
game
hurt?
changer because
He
we
was
were
a game
chasing him
changer.
last year before we got Palmer, right? So theoretically, if Palmer hadn't clicked and played so well,
Yeah, so you got Cole
yeah,
Palmer. I mean, he was
exactly, exactly.
the
True, true,
best.
true.
Uh, I
Agreed.
think he was the best
It's
player in the second half of the season. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's true. It's true. I don't think we'll miss him that much. Maybe we'll see. Okay, moving on to another part of the field where we actually do need somebody good, somebody proven is the center forward role. So
Yes.
what the sporting directors will do, right? When you need like a proven goal scorer, somebody who's established, somebody who can finish well, they'll go for 18 and 19-year-old kids.
Yeah,
Of course
I
they
was just
will.
gonna say that.
Like, so I have a theory, right? Because Chelsea is now owned majority by this clearly capital investment firm, right? They are looking at players as akin to stocks, right? So they
Hmm.
always, if they're investing big money, they always want to invest in somebody whose stock will go up eventually, so that worst comes to worst, you can sell them for at least break even or a profit. So these guys are not willing to pay any big money anymore for established players whose values might go down, right? Interestingly, they did this before because they were buying some established players. They bought Sterling, whose stock has gone down really bad. Um, and at that point we bought Aubameyang. That was a complete disaster, and so on and so forth. So I think they've kind of had their fingers burnt a little bit, and so now no matter what the position is, if they're going to spend big money, they're going after kids. And the center forward position, initially they started
So
going after. Go
just
ahead.
to interrupt, yeah. So isn't this something that Chelsea did during the Abramovich era also? Because I remember they stockpiled talent. I think there was this youngster
Yes.
called Marco van Ginkel. There was a lot of hype
Yeah.
around him. You guys had the German Messi, Marco Marin, on your books. I
Yeah.
still remember always signing him on FIFA, playing in the career mode. So
there's a
I'm not
there's
sure
a
it's
critical
something.
difference. There's a
Yeah.
critical difference. You bring a good point. And in the Abramovich era, we did sign promising youngsters, but we always did end up buying some critical first team players as well, like Drogba's, the Diego Costas. To a certain extent, we went after Morata. He didn't work out, but these were all
Yeah.
established names that we went after. Lukaku too, we went after him. Didn't quite work out. But the only difference is during Abramovich's era, the youngsters we were buying, we weren't paying crazy money for them. Right
Ah,
now, like we are paying like insane amount of money. Even Enzo and Caicedo, we paid over 100 million pounds each for them, 22, 23-year-old kids. And even like 17, 18-year-old kids, the kid from Palmeiras in Brazil, Esteban Willian, he is supposed to be a generational talent, but 65 million for like a 17-year-old kid is crazy money, right? So that's been the big difference. Now they're putting all the big money towards like these young guys whose stocks can only go up. So I think that's what these guys are thinking, and that's the directive I think that has been given to these sporting directors. And following on this directive, basically for the center forward position, they went after John Duran and Samu Omorodion. Do you know who these guys are, Pradeep?
I'll have to check FIFA. I have absolutely no idea.
Okay. So let me give you.
So is John Duran
Yeah.
the same guy who plays for Villa? No, or is
Yes,
somebody else?
John Duran
Oh,
is so the little bit of background is essentially from these targets. What we can gather is Chelsea are looking for target man, powerful center forward, because both of these guys are that. John Duran is a young kid from Colombia. He plays for Aston Villa. He's good in the air, strong guy, got a really good left foot. This Samu dude, he's a Spanish kid, again, 18 years old. He's on the books of Atletico Madrid, but he was on loan somewhere else last season. Again, he's 6'4", really tall, but he's got good sense of timing for his runs. He's got good finishing. But basically, both of the deals kind of broke down at various stages because of some background issues. And then Atletico Madrid is very hard to negotiate with, right? They wanted big money for Samu. And I think even the Chelsea sporting directors took a step back. Like, okay, I can't spend like 60, $70 million on a center forward who has got like 2 or 3 goals last season or something. So guess what Chelsea does next? Chelsea goes even younger, even more unproven. So Chelsea have almost signed this promising young centre forward from Barcelona. I think he's finished his medical. Mark Gui is his name, Guiu. So he is, I think, 18 or 19 years old, or just a couple of years older, or 1 year older than Lamine Yamal. So they both grew up, together at La Masia at Barcelona's academy. He's an interesting player. I don't know what they're going to do with him because he's clearly not the finished article, and we need a finished article, right? We need goals now, not like 5 years from now. He is again a powerful center forward, good, header of the ball, good strong runner. Not your typical La Masia product. He's not a tiki-taka footballer. He's more of a traditional number 9. But yeah, I'm at a loss, man. I mean, I understand them buying these guys. He was a bargain, around 6 million euros, because Barcelona hadn't put the 800 million or 1 billion kind of transfer thing on him.
I'm surprised that you guys got him for 6 million. I think that
Yeah,
you'd have seen the 6 million and said, no, that's an incorrect number.
yeah,
Here's 35 million. It can't
yes.
be 6 million. Here's 35 million.
Yeah. So we've got him. Let's see what happens. We don't know whether he'll go in the first team. The other problem is we have so many of these youngsters now. We don't have any spots open for international loans, right? I think there are only certain number of spots for international loans. I think everybody else has to go find a place in either the championship or some other premiership team. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I see that he's a very promising youngster, but I don't know. We need goals now.
The
So
entire team is promising youngsters. I think
yeah,
that's what it
so
is
guess what
like.
happens after that? After that, we had like some PSR, basically
Oh,
PSR,
yeah.
bookkeeping stuff going on. Let's talk about that now, right?
Hmm.
So PSR is profit and sustainability rules for the EPL, and I think you're allowed to lose 110 million pounds.
133.
Yeah,
Was it
133
130?
dollars and 110 million pounds.
Ah,
I
right,
think
right.
over 3 seasons, essentially 3 financial years or something. So, and 30th June is the deadline. So all these clubs, Chelsea obviously included, were trying to do all these deals that were not very above board, not very transparent. So
Inflated values.
exactly. So they're inflating values of certain players for sure. So what the main deal that happened outgoing is essentially Chelsea selling Jan Matson to Aston Villa. So we as Chelsea fans, we're a little sad because he's an academy product. He did really well in his loan to Dortmund last year, went to the finals of the Champions League, was in the Champions League team of the season, and we got a good deal. So we got about 37 million pounds for a left back. So that's pure
Wow.
profit, right? Because
Yeah.
we develop the player. We don't have any kind of negative balance on him on our books. So we sold him to Villa. But the other way came this youngster called Omari Kellyman, who is a
Mhm.
left-footed forward, 10, maybe 8. Some people have compared him to, a Kai Havertz-ish player. For
Means he
19,
does nothing.
no, I mean, oh boy, he does something. I haven't scored 2 goals against us, so he does something. But it blows hot and cold, Kai Havertz. But I don't know about this kid. But we paid 20 million pounds, almost 19 million pounds. for this 19-year-old kid. I think he's played like 1 or 2 games for Villa, which is like ridiculous. And so what people are saying is it's a, you scratch my back, I scratch your back
Hmm.
for the profit
Yeah.
and sustainability rules. So, Villa paid Chelsea whatever money we wanted from Hudson, whatever the release clause was. And then in exchange, Chelsea got Omari Kellenen, who they maybe wanted, sure, but not for 19 million pounds. And then there have been other deals like this, across Everton and maybe, like you said, Newcastle might have to sell
Awesome.
one of their stars. So what do you think about clubs like this utilizing loophole after loophole, especially Chelsea? Chelsea utilized the loophole of amortizing the players over 8-9 year contracts. Then I don't know if you know this, Chelsea sold hotel and parking lot at Stamford Bridge
Yeah,
to
yeah.
one of the
I remember
companies
that.
that the owners only own,
They only- Yeah,
right?
I did.
And then this is the third one that they're exploiting, right? Basically, trying to inflate values to get around the PSR rules. What do you think about this?
So what they're doing isn't illegal, right?
No.
So I don't see any
Mm.
problem with that. So see, that's the thing, right? So when Neymar was sold for whatever crazy amount
Mhm.
that PSG paid for him, would you say was that inflated? It was inflated, right?
It
He wasn't
was.
worth that much.
True, 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 true.
That's what football has become now. I mean, unfortunately, football is now more about balancing your books
Yeah.
rather than going out and buying a player that you want to play. So when I
Hmm.
remember when Man United bought Rio Ferdinand from Leeds for I think it was 30 million back then. 30, 35 million, and he was the most expensive Premier League defender. Everyone was going crazy, like, oh my God, they've spent so much money on him. They've spent so much money on him. Nowadays, 30, 35 million won't even get you a top striker.
Yeah.
It just won't.
Absolutely not.
So,
Yeah.
so values have been inflated for a long time now. There was no prevention of this from any side. So that's the one thing I like about American sport when compared to football that we have here. It's like that the players that you're getting, you have to stick to a salary cap and trades
Yeah.
and all that. You don't overspend per
Hmm.
se. There's some room, like you have a luxury tax for certain clubs, sorry, franchises. But this is the problem I see with football now. It's all about balancing your books and ensuring you don't overspend or go beyond your means. But
Yeah.
then the question also becomes, uh, is it only like to help certain clubs? Because Chelsea have fallen foul of PSR because of this crazy spending that they have done.
Yep.
But they wouldn't have fallen foul like that had they, kept their spending to a certain limit. So, like, for example, I'm giving that Manchester City, they flout. I mean, this is going to be a separate podcast, but they flout the rules so much regarding how much money they make
Yeah.
from their inflated deals, but no one
Yep.
has been able to prove anything till now.
Well,
So
they're
there
now
are,
suing the Premiership.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
counter suing. It's
Yeah.
insane
Yeah.
what they're doing. And there've been talks about, relationships breaking down between, UAE and England because of
Yeah.
this. So there was no check on this overspending when it could have been done, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And unfortunately, we're in a situation where it's all about the money. This
Yeah.
is not the football that you and I grew up watching.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely. And
i-
you
it's
know,
unfortunate.
yeah, I
So
was.
you see, for example,
Yeah. Yeah.
money has become such a big talking point in football. Is that you've seen we heard, I think, the Liverpool co-chairman or something, I think Tom Werner, he said that we
Hmm.
want one game to be played, one like Premier League game to be played in America.
Hmm.
He's in fact thinking of doing a entire world tour of one Premier League game. So let's say the 39th, oh sorry, 38th Premier League game, for example. One game is played in the US, one is played in Dubai, one is played in South America or something
Hmm.
like that. Why will they be doing this? For money,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. 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 I
So,
think.
so long answer short, if it's not illegal, I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
Yeah, but I think one of the things I was talking to you about, right? I kind of hate the way the players, especially these young players, are basically being made into these commodities to kind of balance your
Uh,
books, right? Let's talk about Omari Hutchinson, right? So this talented, right winger, left-footed guy. Chelsea bought him again. Again, we have a log jam of, right wingers, left-footed right wingers. We got him from Arsenal basically for nothing out of the academy. He was, a really promising star. He went on a loan last season to Ipswich Town, did really well. Now he's come back, and now Chelsea are selling him to Ipswich Town for around 21 million pounds or something. And Arsenal are getting like 15% of that. But Chelsea basically bought this kid basically to make 20 million profit, right? There's no other way around it. For Hutchinson, I think it worked out well. He got good time, in the championship, good playing time in the championship with Ipswich, and now he's got a final transfer into Ipswich. So maybe it worked out for him, but I can totally foresee in the future it not working out for some kid, right? Who just
Yeah.
basically becomes, money and balancing the books. So I kind of felt bad about that. Okay, I think we are kind of short on time. A couple of things I wanted to discuss. So yeah, moving the Chelsea crazy cart along. We are also trying to buy Kieran Dewsbury Hall from Leicester. I mean, yeah, I guess he's a good player. He's a left-footed kind of attacking central midfielder. I mean,
Yep.
you can never have enough central midfielders in my experience because they have to do so much of the work. They get injured all the time. I don't know whether we're going to get him, but talks are definitely advanced. And David Ornstein broke this, so we know that this is genuine news. So let's see what happens. Of course, Dewsbury Hall knows Maresca because he was
Yeah.
Leicester Player of the Year last season. Let's see what happens there. And then we're again going back to another kid. We are getting this, trying to get this kid called Aaron Aselmino from Boca Juniors, who's like a left-footed center back who's like 17, 18 years old. So I don't know how many of these under 20 kids we'll end up having. And then we also lost actually a really promising Chelsea academy graduate. His name is Ryan McAdoo. So he's again, one of the shining stars of the academy. 17 years old or 16 years old, I think, and I think Man City are poaching them off of us. So I think basically that's what the football is going to become, like clubs trying to poach like 16, 17-year-old kids off of each other now. So basically, very scattergun approach from Chelsea right now. Basically, I think a
It's the
lot of it
same for the last 2 years.
for the last 2 years, and it's very clear now that it's more about balancing the books and buying
Mhm.
players whose value will go up. But Chelsea still need to fill major holes in the squad, right? We need a proven center forward, not like an 18-year-old kid from a different league, and we can't put pressure on him. I don't know whether we'll get him. We also definitely need some more reinforcements on the left back because Chilwell has declined quite
Yeah.
a bit. Kukurea, you can never depend on. Maybe he'll be good, maybe he won't. We don't know. And of course, our goalkeeping situation is not the greatest, right?
Yeah.
Robert Sanchez, who's like
Sanchez.
two big mistakes every game, and Petrovic is good, but he's not top tier. So it's pretty crazy that we have spent over £1 billion the last 2 or 3 transfer seasons, and we still have so much of the spine to figure out. Don't have a center forward, don't have a good goalkeeper. We still need some reinforcement in midfield and left back. So I don't know what's
And you've
gonna.
got a new manager now.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen there. So, anyways, I think yeah, we discussed quite a bit of Chelsea. I don't know, I don't think we touched upon Liverpool enough, but we'll have another episode once the actual non
Yeah. Yeah.
PSR window gets rolling. So we'll talk about that. And then let's also, keep an eye on the Euros and the Copa America because we'll be getting into the quarterfinals by next week. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Have a good time, and again, like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.